What's going on, millionaires? You're listening to the $1 Million Mind Podcast, episode 172 on fellowship, fitness, finance, and film. Man, I'm super excited to have this interview. Got my brother Temi in the building, man. This feeling good, bro. So for those who don't know Temi, right? Not only is Temi the guy that's getting your guy right? Y'all see me posting the shorts on YouTube. I'm getting back in the gym. I'm getting right. Temi is getting me right. So Temi is a fitness enthusiast, also a personal trainer and coach, and film director and content creator, among many other things, which we're going to talk about today. But I feel it's only right that I get my guy Temi on the show to talk about fitness, film, fellowship, right? Because we got this large community. But Temi, why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit more about you and what they can expect from, today's content.
First off, Q, thank you for having me on here. I was saying earlier to you that I've never been able to be on really like a podcast like this, not because I haven't really been invited, but I think timing is everything. So I think at this moment that we're in now, this is the perfect time for me to, I think have my first interview, I guess.
Yeah.
Like my first like visual, real interview. And I think, of course, seeing who you've been just through fitness, I already know like what your drive is like. So, man, I appreciate this. I know you take this very serious, just like you take yourself and your body serious. So it's an honor to be here today.
Man, it's an honor. It's an honor having you, bro. And man, so Temi, y'all can't hear it because we in the spot. It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
That's the guy Temi really is. That's the guy Temi really is.
Because the police will come over here and all.
Nah, the police are straight, man. We good.
You hear me, bro?
So he's being extremely humble, but that's the guy that he is, and I'm super grateful to have Temi on the show to talk with you all. And for our millionaires who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And for those who are vets, welcome back to the $1 Million Mind Podcast. I'm your guy, Kai Speaks. And this is the world's most trusted podcast for passion attraction. We are number one in passion attraction in the world, top 10% in mindset podcast. And I'm just super thankful to have you all just a part of that journey with me. 2 years in this podcast game. And we still counting, right? We still flowing. And you're in the right place if you were here looking for tips and tricks to making some money while living a passionate life, doing what you love, that passion work. So let's start off with your experiences, Temi. Like, what experiences like really molded you into, this trainer, this film content creator, just the Temi that's sitting with us today. What experiences kind of molded you into that person?
I like first off how you say experiences, because I think the best growth and the best knowledge for a person is their experiences. But of course, what brought me here today, I can start off with military school. When I was in 8th and 9th grade, my mother sent me to military school. Really in 8th grade, I was acting up, not doing right, not taking school seriously. And so she sent me to the Marine Military Academy in Harlingen, Texas. And this school was past the border of Mexico. So it tells you just so you can understand the location. We were in the desert tropics region area, secluded from really kind of reality. But yeah, that experience really changed and started to mold my life the way it is. It started to make me the man I am today. Literally from the aspect of discipline. Anyone that just hears of the term military school, you already know it's crazy.
It's crazy.
But my experience was crazy. So to make a long story short, my experience that I had at military school was similar to that movie Full Metal Jacket. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've never seen it. Tell us a little bit about it.
I'm a film guy too.
Yeah.
So Full Metal Jacket is one of those movies that it's different than every other film. It's almost like two films in one. And so it starts off, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it starts off focusing on a character that is new to the military and then going through some sort of boot camp. And, everyone knows that in the military, when you have new, cadets come in, those cadets have to go through a specific process, almost like initiation. And so the movie depicts that initiation process strictly in the Marine Corps. And, of course, I went to the Marine Military Academy.
Right.
So You know, that movie, we actually, my first time watching it was at military school, which was crazy. Because when I watched it, I felt like I was going through the exact same thing
Hmm.
that the main character in the first segment was going through.
That's probably why they had y'all watch it.
Man, but you know what was crazy?
What?
In the film, the main character, he blows his head off
Damn.
from trauma, you know,
Damn.
from what he was currently going through.
Hmm.
Which, at the end of the day, when you think of being out of it,
Hmm.
it doesn't seem as bad. But when you think about, like, when you really watch something like that, it's like, whew. Like, you know, the structure of the military is a little scary. Like, it's not meant for, like, humans. You know what I'm saying? So, that was one thing that kind of molded me because it took away, you know, I think race was not an issue there. I think we were all like the same people in a melting pot. And in that melting pot, we each had to survive. And they taught me how to become a man, become more disciplined, and how to really be able to survive in an environment where, you know, I might not be the dominant one, you know. And so, well, I definitely wasn't the dominant one. You know, so I can go deep in that military school aspect, but that's one moment that first started to change, I think, in my life
Right.
personally.
I'm sure it probably gave you like majority of like the discipline,
I mean,
sticking to a schedule.
discipline was through fitness. The dorm I stayed in, we called them barracks. So I
Hmm.
stayed in Echo Company, which was known for the company that would wake up earlier before any company just to do PT in the morning. So most of the other companies, when they woke up in the morning, everyone was required to do PT, and most of the companies run just around like a mile or whatever, jogging slow. Our instructor was a run, like a short, brolic runner. He also was the main trainer in the weight room. So like he wasn't no skinny dude that could run long distance. Like he was strong as an actual human in everything. And I never met anyone that was like him. You
Man.
know. So long story short, my bad. I'm talking a lot.
No, 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 you good, you good, you good.
Long story short, um, when I was in this company, our minimum miles was like 3 miles. So like when you talk about like even me understanding that I had to push myself past limits because everyone had to as a unit, that was a whole different thing for me. That was deeper than the camaraderie you would get on a football team. It was like this is mandatory. Like this isn't what you chose to do. You got to do this. Is your
It's
life is
like
not yours anymore.
this is what it is, and you gotta run. You gotta run with the program,
You got to run with the
or
program,
you get left
or
behind.
you get, or you,
And you
yeah,
probably don't
you
want
don't
to get
even know
left
what
behind.
happens.
Yeah,
You know,
you don't want to get left behind.
no one gets left behind.
So that's interesting. So okay, when you went through military school, did the habits of like fitness and just being more aware of like physical health, did that kind of stay with you? Do you feel
Yeah,
like you ever like fell off from that after leaving that
it
school?
definitely put in something new in me because you know, growing up, I was kind of like not ever down on myself. I was always kind of the fastest, but I
Hmm.
never thought that I was like that. But at military school, it's like they discipline us to believe that we have to be that. Like we have to be the hero. You know, so it was like at the same time of the discipline that I received at military school was like kind of harsh. It was also kind of um, very positively like beneficial and influential because you know, I mean, when you think about being just simply a hero, being a father, being a
Hmm.
brother, a big brother, or being someone that someone looks up to, you know that you're gonna have to go through things like sacrifice, you know, whether that's physically, mentally, or spiritually, just to help someone else. So, I mean, that was one thing that I kind of like learned that like I love the military about kind of, you know, because that's what they're teaching at the end of the day. You know, we actually are fighting for something, you know, and you know, some people are against the military too, and I understand, but you know, going through just that academy taught me so much more and like about the military, and I have so much more respect for them. So
So, I mean, just from that answer, would you say that you would, when you have children, you would put your children through the same type of program?
they're gonna have to go through that. It's
Okay.
just because I know they're gonna be a little bit of me.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
no, no. I'm
They're
not.
gonna
I
share an
can't say
experience with you,
that. Yeah, you
equally
know,
yoked.
I won't even say military school is for everyone, but if they're anything like me, They gotta go. Because I know the ass gonna be listening to me, so they gotta go. They need that discipline, that secluded, isolated discipline, and that's some of the things I've always had to learn throughout my life lessons. That's what happens to me. I become isolated, secluded.
Hmm. And I get it. It makes sense too, because like it will be easier for them to understand like why and how you are the way you are, and why you suggest certain things. Right?
For
Them
real.
having that experience with you is like, okay, I get why
Yeah.
Pops is saying this and that.
Yeah.
Right? So that it makes sense from the discipline side of things and the fitness side of things. And y'all can't see it, but Timmy got a camera on his leg. He got the Premiere Pro logo on the hand. Like he got a lot. He got a lot going on. So like, when did the passion for film come into this story?
It's crazy because for me, I thought it was. So I'll start off with what my parents say. Um, my mother tells me that I've always been into film and photography, and when I think about it and look back at like even videos that I have of myself, I was like, dang, I was like capturing myself flipping at the age of like 10. I used to record myself like trying to dance at the age of like 6, 5, with just anything that they had. My dad used to always be recording with the camcorder, and then he recently told me that his father, my grandfather, I never got to meet him, in Nigeria, had a dark room, had one of the only dark rooms in Ogun State. So, just hearing that, it's like, wow, like, it was almost like in my blood. But at the same time, even within my own spirit, I really got heavy into it. Kind of when social media emerged. So YouTube was like real popular. I had a YouTube channel and I uploaded just videos all of myself on there. I always loved to recording myself. I always saw everyone else with a camera, and they were always like capturing other things, and like trees and plants. And yeah, I mean, but I would always tell people like, "Yo, turn it around on you. Look at yourself." Like, because I always knew that a camera would. When I saw myself, I felt better. Like I used to like looking at it, and so even growing up and going through that phase of YouTube, Facebook, whenever it emerged, my mom let me make a Facebook. And that was right when I was sent to military school. So I came back home from military school when I was first back, and Facebook emerged. And so when I went to military school, I left all the people that I was at, like with, at private school, and like I didn't get to, like, I couldn't contact them anymore. So when Facebook emerged, I was able to add all those friends back and reconnect. And they ended up sending me letters to my military school. Like I got like 116 letters. Like it's crazy. They were writing. There was
They loved you, man. They
loved
loved
me,
you.
man. There was some little white girls that liked me. I was like, like, but no, it was crazy because as like through those times, I was able to emotionally like reflect through Facebook just to be able to communicate back to people like that didn't know what was going on. So I'm over here taking pictures in my uniform like this. I remember we had the Marines are like yellow and like red or burgundy, and there was like a yellow Lamborghini, and I was in my full uniform, and like we don't get to ever see anything because we're always on base. But it was just I was like I have to get a picture of this like just to show it to my class, like you know what I'm saying. And literally like just me getting that picture was so hard, like to find someone to take that picture just so I could get it on Facebook. And then getting it on Facebook, I had to go to like a hotel like 20 minutes away, spend my whole stipend on a taxi just to go to a hotel so I can get on the computer at the hotel without permission and get on the computer and go on Facebook just so I could upload that picture.
This is while you was still in military school.
Yes. So
Oh
they let us go
snap!
out sometimes, like when
Yeah.
we weren't restricted or in trouble. I was always in trouble for no reason, literally. I felt like it was no reason. But I was always smiling and stuff, and I know you can't smile at military school, so I would get restricted because I was smiling, and
That's
I wouldn't be
crazy.
playful because I would always get in trouble being
Yeah.
playful, and it wouldn't be anything bad, but
But speaking of that, like I love to hear that like that was always who you was, like the smiling, the
man,
energetic type, and you didn't let something as strict and as like structured
they
as
tried to
military
break me.
school,
Oh
to
yeah,
to change who you are, because you would expect going through something like that, always being in
oh yeah,
trouble, you would come out as this callous type
yeah,
person, this person that really barely breaks his, cracks a smile. and breaks character. But man, when I tell you, Timmy come up and like it be those days where it's like Monday or Friday, you don't feel like being in the gym, and then Timmy just come in that thing and he light it up like he just yes sir, like just bringing all the energy. So to hear that story of you like them, that's something that you got trouble for, right? Like, and you didn't let it break you. That shows like true resilience, and it's really a test of character. And with the so did you ever? Because you got a lot going on to me. Like you got the film, you got a couple like high radar clients. You know, I'll let you speak on that. But then also, taking on clients with the training. Between the two, how do you balance your time, or how do you find balance between your fitness clients and your film clients, and just kind of even bringing the two passions together? Even how do you find that time and balance?
Well, it's crazy because I just recently went through like a little injury, but that injury taught me about like slowing down and about like creating like a plan and a schedule for myself. So throughout the process of me healing myself last year, um, I really had to take the time out of my day to like know when I needed to like work on my health and wellness and like take care of Timmy. And so every day I knew I would set a schedule that from like 4:30 a.m. to 12, I was going to do everything I need to do for me. And so I know always when I first wake up, it's best for me to go straight to the gym, without even like, I like to smoke marijuana at times. So without even doing any of that, like first thing is to tackle everything throughout the day that I can do. So fitness wise, when I come back from the gym, usually at like after 10:30, edits, and then right after that, it's like, okay, that's when I can get into my shooting clients or photography or even deeper editing or meetings or anything, even doing this right now. And so when I set up that schedule for myself personally and stuck to it, that's when I started attracting people that were really trying to like kind of work out with me. And then that's when it started being like, oh snap, like I was always kind of recording myself, but now I had an excuse to get crack footage because now I had other people around to really hold the camera and record me, and then in return I would record them, But then, of course, that led to, of course, me meeting Ryan and Ty. Um, I think Mr. J Hines brought them, and literally when they saw me, they were like, "Yo, we gotta invest." And then you were right there with them. You guys just chose to really like kind of invest in me because you guys felt like the energy was good. So Um, I think that consistency of me creating that schedule led me to be able to still do what I do, which nothing has really changed. Because y'all just work out with me, really. Y'all pay to work out with me and get content. Even though you might feel like I'm training you, we're really working out together.
Right, right.
But that's also the difference between other trainers as well. That I noticed is that they don't really work out with their clients, which it's not a lack, but some trainers might say it takes away focus, but me, I know that it adds value to you guys continuing to work out and then pushing yourselves even further. And then also that still takes my time of getting my workout in. At least my first workout.
At least the
in the
first
day.
workout. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least the first workout in the day. Because the work never stops. People always say, how do you get to the top? It takes two. It takes two to get to the top, not one. Not one workout, two. So just remember that. But now, it's funny, like literally being in the morning, there in the morning with you guys every morning, it's crazy because you guys bring so much more energy to myself. And it makes me even just think about what we can do more when I go back and look at the clips, and see just a little bit of the footage. Because sometimes I don't even look at all of it, but what I do see, I'm like, oh my God, people are actually slick changing, looking a little different. So now it's like, at this moment that we're at now during this interview, it's like I don't even know like how this has come to be like this, even though I might have just explained it. But now what I see is a lot more people being involved and being moved.
Yeah, it sounds like is divine. It's like it's out of your control, right? You do what you can control, which is, blocking out your times, following the schedule. You follow your schedule, and then, like you said, you then start to attract people who also respect their time and their schedules. And exactly. So we just align ourselves with each other. And I mean, the word, it sounds like that is most important in that, because just how you said, we bring, an energy to you, you bring that same energy back to us, and it's called community, right? And that community is a big piece, and that's even part of this interview, fellowship, right? How would you say, like, not even just our community that we form, but just community support systems in general, how has that played a part into, the balance of all these passions and being able to implement them in your life?
I mean, community is everything. Whether if it's brotherhood, family, friends, or all of that combined together, or even like you representing specific areas, city, state. I think community is huge, and I think where I first really understood the power of community was at Morehouse. But I understood the power of community at Morehouse because Martin Luther King used to always talk about. I had to study Martin Luther King at Morehouse. He went there, of course.
That's my frat brother, man. I love it. You know, yes, I had to bring that up.
Go ahead, show him real quick.
It's really what it is. Like Martin Luther King, proud brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So, just knowing that piece of history, I too had to, study Martin Luther King, and, just kind of knowing his history in general, as you know, is just another piece of the puzzle of understanding not only who you are, but the impact that you can make, the importance of community, the importance of bringing people together to make a huge difference, and to make really those big changes that we look to seek. And most people think they have to do it by themselves. Studying him was how I'm able to see, like, community is what makes the big impact even more possible. Right?
Definitely. I'm right there with you on that. And it's like, I kind of like took on his ideologies that he used to stand on and preach back in the day about like community. And when you even think about, what he was doing back in the day, using media to kind of tell the truth on what was going on in certain issues in the world. But then, you know, that media, he used it as a way to kind of like, get to people emotionally so they can come and march with them and then cause change. So, even just think about how he understood community and media back then. You know, I think now it's a powerful thing that we study his ideologies because I think that's how we can promote community and change now, not only through social media, but now in specific figures becoming the top, you know, in or on social media. So we're promoting like goodness. But I know I'm getting all over the place. It's a little deep, but when you really think about it, have you seen the movie Selma?
Yeah, it was a while ago. I seen it. Man, when did I ran for Mr. Cheney, and I actually did a bit from the movie Selma.
Oh, yeah. So
that was like back in like 2015, like 2014, 2015, 2015, 2016. There you go. So yeah. I seen it a while ago.
That's one of my favorite films because it directly depicts the power of the image. And if you notice, they were trying to get voting rights in Selma, Alabama. And, you know, in order for them to do that, they had to go and protest. But it wasn't really the protest that was important. It was capturing the protest that was important because that's what they needed as fuel to get to the white pastors and preachers up north emotionally so they could come down and also promote voting rights for black people. So when you think about the negative things that happen like now today in society, school shootings, there's a lot of negative portrayals of people out there that are promoted all day and every day. And if we're able to become those top figures and promote like more so positivity, you could definitely cause change through, what we see. Because when you connect with people emotionally through, film and footage, you start to change their perceptions. And so, I think that's the power of not only what King was talking about, but like what we're supposed to do now with the same ideology. We all have the ability to share something on social media, and in seconds, people can see it and be affected on a global scale, which is crazy. Kim K posted anything. She got about 139 mil.
Yeah, it's getting
But
seen,
but then again, at the same time, I can be the devil's advocate and say none of it matters because, my Instagram got deleted today.
bro. That was that when you said it,
Oh my
you
goodness.
said it in
Yeah.
a in an underwhelming tone where I knew how you really felt, right? But the way you said it, it didn't depict any kind of like frustration, but like, bro, like to be honest, man, how does that how did that feel, man? Because that's a hurt piece. Like you got 20K followers and
You
a
know,
lot of content on there.
there's a feeling of sadness and loss, but then when I understand after not having it already just for 8 hours, I've been so much more focused on doing things that I need to do in my daily life, and I think also that we can become deeply affected by seeking attraction through just social media, pictures and videos, of course from others, but I think it's a good reset as well because now I'm able to refocus. And it's funny, the only page that popped up now on my Instagram, because I have like many accounts, but the only account that it like let me is it's letting me use is my new fitness page, Heroes. And so I think that's kind of like it's deeper than what's happening right now, you know. And I think what I'm supposed to do is like I am supposed to reset anyway, because there might have been a distraction, you know, from the purpose that I'm supposed to have on this world. And so all I know is that, through this, I'm getting closer to the purpose that, I have for the world. And so it sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I get to start over,
Yeah,
you know.
start over, and you built that page once. You know, you can
Man,
build it.
yeah,
You can build it a second time, probably
yeah.
even stronger than it was the
Stronger.
first time. And I mean, this is. I think this is the reset is really a good test. And I had this conversation with one of my previous guests, who was a writer and author.
Right.
She had to do a reset out of a tragedy that happened in her life, and these resets are really a good way for us to test our audience
Yeah.
and see like who really sticks,
Right.
right? Because we got a couple ghost followers, people who really just follow just to kind of keep tabs on you, but don't really engage. But when you bring your page back, and you got those people who go jump and follow you, that's the real
Yeah,
following.
those are the real followers.
And I mean, you got the other pages. Maybe the reset is for you to focus on heroes.
Yeah.
And shoot, man, I even wanted to bring up the fact that I just had another page called AUC Cam,
Yeah.
and you talked about capturing positive images.
Yeah.
You guys use that as a platform to
Yeah.
capture the positivity in the
I
AUC, right?
mean, I can't lie. Instagram is kind of what fueled me and my brother Justice. That's what fueled both of us to be very creative as we are today. As Instagram developed, we also did. But what it also allowed us to do was create an online community for everyone that was at Spelman, Morehouse, and Clark. Kind of like just connecting the students to one. We were always like outside and vibrant and, like in the crowd. So, when we got cameras in our hands, I think it was our junior year. Um, and we were taking pictures really of ourselves. Other people would hop in our photos, and we'd end up having crazy photos. We'd be like, "Dang, we got to put these somewhere." Like, so that's why we created the AUC cam because we didn't want the footage that we had captured to like just go away. We were like, "This has to go somewhere, just so like it can be kept." Like, and then shoot, we need this. People need to see this, and then oh shoot, we need to tag these people. You know, and that was back in the day when Instagram you couldn't even click on the photo to see like who was tagged. You just had to write the tag in there.
Oh yeah, you just had to tag
You
everybody
don't
in the
remember that,
caption.
yeah.
Yeah, man, things change.
People, there's so much like people don't remember. In 2015, Instagram implemented the videos on their platform, and so that's what got us to get into video. Was Instagram enabling video, and it wasn't even videos where you could upload. You could only record videos off the actual Instagram like app itself, and you would hold it down and like Vine. You remember how Vine was?
Yeah,
So that's when Instagram incorporated video. But me and Justice, we had our camera, so we were like, shoot, we need to put this in video mode. And the first video we uploaded on Instagram was Justice dancing in Spelman off the camera, but it was recorded off the camera, and then we just played it back on the camera and recorded it on the actual iPhone on Instagram.
Bro, I forgot Instagram even like.
Because you couldn't even upload the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then when they allowed you to upload videos, that's when became even more creative because we always knew that a clear picture was much more attractive. Not only did the individual that's being shot, if I took a picture of you and it was clear, most likely you'd like it. Not because you look different, but because you see yourself different. So that was what we saw about like the power of the camera and the image. Like, oh my goodness, like the flicks are gonna get way more likes on Instagram just because it's a professional. It's and every time Justice was the first one to have a photo shoot back in Little Rock for his birthday. Literally, he had like 20 photos from the photo shoot that were crack. I was like, bro, you gotta upload them bitches. Like, they were so nice. And when he uploaded them, like, the likes that we used to get back in the day, like, that were good were like 50, 70. This man got like 250 likes on that first photo that he uploaded. Like, it was a way different experience. Like, so we knew then, whoa. Literally, right after he did his photo shoot, I paid $250 for a photo shoot. Like, and I got back 10 photos. I was so happy. Literally, I did the same thing. When I got those photos, I had to wait on them. The lady did edits, got the photos, posted all of them, like 2 a day, didn't save anything. But every single one of those photos did. They got posted. They did numbers, boy. I was getting 300, 500 likes. That was the first time people did shout out for shout out. I was getting put on people's pages. This was back in the day, so I was like, oh my goodness. So that led up to us like getting our cameras because I was like, dang, I didn't want to pay $250 again. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, I need to know how to take pictures, like, for real. Even though I come from like, recording myself, my sister always had cameras. She was younger than me, but I think she was like kind of technology a little bit more advanced. So she always had it, but I always used her stuff. But, for Instagram and for stuff like this, as we're becoming more savvy and, as everyone's becoming more of a community through Instagram, that's when we started utilizing, the tools we had more. And so like I said, when they implemented videos and we could upload, that's when our creative skills became crazy. And then when they allowed for 60-second videos and you could upload them full screen, that's when we started doing 1 minute music videos. That's when there was a thing like artists were starting to make 1 minute songs, and but we were kind of one of the first in Atlanta to kind of promote that, and that became a thing globally. And then you have people making 1 minute freestyles, 30-second songs, 15-second songs, and then there was a moment where we even off of Instagram alone, Future and Casino reached out to us. We ended up shooting for them some of their music videos that they got lots of views on now. But it's been an experience, being able to say that, through Instagram we've become the creators we are, and been able to like financially benefit from just enjoying, utilizing, the platform's full potential,
Man, just with the power of social media, and that story right there is an example of how you can, leverage social media as a tool, as opposed to allowing it to control you, where a lot of people can fall into the likes, fall into the doing things just for the likes, just for the views. Yeah, hell yeah, bro. Yeah, it's for the likes.
I can do it for the likes now.
Nope, you're doing it for the results. Yeah, and the data, and collecting the data. So, hey, we gonna keep this conversation moving, Temi. And no, you good. I'm just letting our millionaires know that we gonna take a quick break and we gonna be right back. All right, what's up, millionaires? So I know I shared this once, maybe even twice, but here's the third time. So I'm really starting to lose faith in business cards. And the reason why is because every time I get about 500 business cards, I use about 100, 150, and my business has changed. Whether the website has changed or just things are just changing, especially when you're a new entrepreneur. I've been in entrepreneurship just under 5 years. So, things are still changing. You're optimizing, you're getting new websites, getting new Instagram accounts, and your business card really expires. So what I learned and what I love now is Popple, right? I have a Popple card right here in my pocket. And what I love about it is it's a physical card that I can put my logo on. Even has a QR code that I can scan or hold up to somebody's phone. And they have a virtual business card where I can update my information as much as I need to. I can share as much information as I want to from my phone number, social media pages, the whole nine. And I can also disable sharing that information if I want to as well. I definitely want you guys to consider Popple, because as your business is changing, why spend so much money on these paper business cards when most of the times people throw them away and it's expired because you changed your business? So there's also going to be a link at the bottom of this video for you to download Popple, get your business card, or if I hold it up close enough, you might be able to scan that QR code. All right, bada bing, bada boom, and we back, right? So Tim, we was talking about a whole lot just now. We was talking about social media, using it as a tool, leveraging it, the support system. But as we still bringing in this concept of, because a lot of people are weighing in on their responsibilities of managing and have hard decisions to make, right? Some people have many passions. Some people have many talents. And a lot of people find themselves having to weigh in on which one is best and making a decision on choosing one. Have you ever felt the pressures of that and felt like you had to pick one over the other, or one was more important over the other? Does it flip flop, or does it stay consistent? Like what's been like that journey for you?
I mean, you already know, even me personally been through that. But it's like, there's been many times where we've, been like set to shoot this.
Yeah, this been a long time coming.
Suit tied, get dressed up. The first interview, DeVito calls. We gotta go shoot DeVito. Crazy, but that was a situation where I was like, yo, he gotta come with us. We in this boat together. So there's moments where you gotta know and see where it's smart to choose what you have to do. But I think in those moments, you just gotta choose wisely. But trying to think of some other things.
Yeah, because it may not always. I think that's a good story right there, because for some people they may feel like this decision is permanent, right? And it doesn't have to be permanent. It could sometimes just be like a in the moment type of thing, or choosing which experience is going to be better for you. And like I tell you all the time, because this happened twice, right? It happened twice where with like the same type of situation where we ready to go. Yeah, like it seemed like every time we scheduled, he got the call, but it was like I let him know, like, bro, this right here, man, we locked in. And I mean, I can't be selfish to like, hell no, we set a time, like you can't go shoot with DeVito. How I sound? Yeah, man, suit up. And when that happens, it's all cool. But at the end of the day, like, we got to just understand, like, we got to make decisions based off of what's most important in that moment. And what's most important doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I'm choosing filming celebrities over fitness, or I'm choosing fitness over, film. Like, it's just it's that you got to move with life by experience. And I think sometimes we forget that life is just a collection of experiences. So it's like, in that experience, we just got to make the decision that's best for us in that moment, in that experience itself, and not thinking that the decision we make is a decision we got to stick with for forever. Right? Because it may not no longer align with what you got going on. So, and so, what else do you feel like has played a huge role in just kind of balancing it all, and besides the scheduling and things like that?
I think of course, initial drive. So there's a lot of people that have goals, but then there's a group of people that dream. And I think there's a difference between like having goals versus like dreaming. I think when you dream, there's things that you can avoid, and I think, and I know some of the things that I've dreamed of, I'm like, wow, like that's what's gonna, I have to do this, like, and literally, dreams can come and go, and they can change too. But at the same time, I think the realest dreams only develop and become bigger for the betterment of other people. And so most people like to idolize or set their goals are to, get money or to get these material things. And, I think that used to be what I used to dream about as well. And of course, doing that could come through medicine or whatever. My dad used to want me to always be a doctor. So, now that when I first like was in college, like I went to Morehouse, I studied biology and I was a double major in Africana studies. Of course, as I got like deeper, I started getting really into like film and like shooting. And my senior year, when I wanted to try to go to the league, I ended up like recording my whole process. I realized I didn't want to go to med school. I took it to MCAT and everything, and I was like my dad was able to get me into a Caribbean med school, you know, like smoothly, but I knew it wasn't like my calling or whatever. So I had to like find a way to just tell him that, I didn't want to go to med school. And, that was hard because they were still loving, but, they're like, you got to go ahead and figure life out then. Like, we're not going to stop you from your dreams, but you got to, I wasn't getting that financial support. You feel me?
Yeah, that's a lot to a lot to unpack.
So,
That's a lot to unpack. But let me ask you this, right? Because it's great. It's great to hear that at the end of it all, they were supportive still in what you want to do.
yeah.
But I'm sure when you first made that realization that this isn't for me, you didn't think that that was going to be the response. So, in what ways did you prepare yourself to just have the conversation? Because Timmy, I'm sure like it's a lot of people, especially in African cultures, Caribbean cultures, whose parents have the same
It
thing.
wasn't even a direct thing. It was something that I had to kind of work on. And I think they kind of already knew without even me having to say, because of the things that were leading up to like me being fully invested in this career. And so, I mean, my parents know that I love them. I wasn't a child that was like denying, like, no, I'm not going to med school. But more so, it was like, Dad, I'm going to try. I'm going to keep doing this. And through the process of trying, even when I got accepted into the Saba University, I mean, they just had a hurricane on that campus. They're like, so there was already things happening to where it was just like, this isn't really right, and it's not me. And I didn't really even have to force it. It was more so just like me continuing to do what I needed to do, not just for myself, but for everyone. And I think that's the balance that we got to kind of create. Um, I don't think the decision has to be, like you said, drastic. We can wait on certain things. So the communication was definitely the best part to make everything smooth, to make me like not feel like, oh, my parents hate me, I hate them. But now the fact that we can combine and be very close and loving, that we can always understand what we did, like to get like how our relationship was, just to make everything better. I think it's good because it has an effect on like my little brother and like my little sister now, and like their relationship and how they can handle things. So um, all in all, it was definitely good. And now that I'm in this field, like shooting who I shoot, doing what I do with film alone, they've seen it as something that's benefited them now. My dad has, gotten some funding just from us shooting commercials for Blue Cross Blue Shield. You know what I'm saying? So, who would have thought, that that's how it can translate? Who would have thought that, oh, he tells me he forgets his dad was a photographer and had a darkroom. It's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Right. These are things I never learned until I was fully already past that point of, you know, being desperate or feeling like you're deserted or feeling like there's nothing there or like, dang, I got to live off of my homeboy's couch. Nah, those are good moments to go through.
Those are definitely those are moments that make you, and it shows how serious you are about your craft as well. And another way to show how serious that I always like to tell people is, the investments that you make. So like on the fitness side, you show how serious you are about fitness with your investment of time, and then even the investment of time into film, but more so the financial investment into all the equipment
Of course.
that you've purchased. That really is like, this is when this is like a passion. And let's go into it. Let's go, because man, Timmy invested to a lot of equipment, and had to even invest into a lot of equipment more than once. And so, like, just to tell us about that mindset of being so willing to invest your coins, your hard earned coins, into this craft, into this passion, even without the guarantee that you could make that return right away.
And I mean, that's the biggest thing. Sometimes the return won't always be something that's financial, but going back into my like initial investment that I made, my first like investment that I made that changed that made my career, not even changed, that made my career was so I haven't graduated from Morehouse, but long story short, um, the reason was Morehouse had a scandal going on where one of the people in the financial aid, they took the money out of the accounts, and like they stole the money basically. So there was over like almost $1 million worth of money stolen, and literally one of the accounts was mine. Like they were real accounts.
Damn.
Like they took some of my money out of our accounts, and so I was finishing up one of my semesters when I didn't make it to the NFL. I came back to college, and like I finished. I was supposed to finish like my last semester, but I was never really enrolled because my payment had been withdrawn.
It wasn't
It
there.
had been taken,
Hmm.
and literally it was $7,000, $7,500 for 2 classes, for 3 classes that I needed to take, 12 hours. Um, or it was in 4 classes, and I had the rest of my scholarship. But I had to pay out of pocket my own money, and I'd worked hard in the summer because I knew I had to pay, because I knew I had an extra semester. I didn't make the Cleveland Browns, so I was back at home, and literally, like, I was already going through it because I didn't make it to the league, and now I'm back here. But now I'm at Morehouse, and 2 months into my semester, my teachers come up to me and like, hey, um, you know, even though we've been talking about like, you've been written in, the system says that you didn't like pay for the school year, so we got to say this class doesn't count. Um, some teachers told me I couldn't. Two of my teachers told me I couldn't come to the class because that's like the Morehouse law. But then two of my teachers let me like stay and finish and get an incomplete because they couldn't give me the grade because I didn't. The finances weren't there. But basically, Morehouse was able to refund me my money, and I was supposed to register for another semester. But when I had all that money in my account, the Canon 5D Mark IV had just released, and I knew then that this school wasn't going to be anything that was going to lead me to my true passion. Right. I knew that this was the moment where I had to step away from everything and everybody because I didn't make it to the NFL. I thought I was going to make it. Everyone was like sold on it. It didn't happen. I'm back in Atlanta trying to finish up. Partial scholarship left over. Now paying out of pocket. Now having to get a job and try to work. And so doing all that, I was like, when that money came, I was like, yeah, I need to get this camera. So when I got that camera, everything changed. And that investment in that camera was crazy because I literally had nothing left when I bought that camera. Like I was already living with my homeboys on the football team that were younger than me, and I was like the older, like senior that like came back or whatever, didn't have any more years to play in football because I like, just went to the draft. But I'm living with all these, not these young folks, but I'm living, in a house and just trying to find myself. In that camera gave me my, like, it created that path for me. But it wasn't that fast because when I bought it, like I said, I had nothing. So I had to learn how to like start to shoot for free. I remember I had like some mentees under me because I was working in the school system um, for the Atlanta public school systems. I was working at Fulton County schools and APS schools, and like I had a lot of kids that were under me. And I actually started a program called Shoot with a Camera, Not a Gun. That's a long thing. That's gonna be like a
Said
whole.
said was You had a conversation with Said, and he said was telling me
Oh
about
my
that.
god! like
That's
people don't really
amazing.
know about that. That's so real. And like that's something I low key not get. I didn't give up on it, but people, I was so passionate about it. No one like really would listen or understand. Like, and it was so real. Like how you know I didn't even say that. Shoot with the camera, not a gun. That was a kid that said that to me, like an 8-year-old boy from the hood, because he thought my camera was a gun. He was like, "Hey, bro, give me that gun, give me that gun." And I was like, "Nah, man." I handed it. I was like, "This is a camera. With this, you can shoot life into people." I didn't even know what I was saying, but he looked at me. He was like, "Shoot with a camera, not a gun." And I was like, "Shoot with a camera, not a gun."
Damn.
And but the thing is, it's even deeper than
Just
that.
gave me chills.
These dudes now, the same kids, are now like high school, about to go to the Morehouse. Two of them already, their older brothers already graduated. They're at Georgia State. You know what I'm saying? But they were never in this predicament before because they come from Adamsville. You know, and if anyone knows about like Atlanta cities, you know, that's the temp. That's what they call that. And so it's hard to kind of make it out of there. But yeah, you know, they're doing some good things now. But long story short, that's what like shoot with the camera, not a gun was definitely something that I gotta like bring back now. But that really changed so much for like me and those kids when I was working in that school system, man. That really taught me the power of the camera and the image. And this was past my studies with Dr. Martin Luther King. This is now me living out what's happening in the community. You know what I'm saying? So now you got kids that are around all these guns and stuff, and now they're like, people are starting to say, shoot with a camera, not a gun. Like kids are getting, they want to get cameras, they want to shoot themselves, they want to promote themselves positively on social media. And so, you know, during this time, even though like I was kind of like broke, like my heart was so filled, and God was just carrying me in directions, just giving me money at the right time. You know, schools would hire me and say, "Hey, we want to use you for a commercial," or they would school. I remember I was so down, and I was just looking at my camera, and I was like all this, like to be here, like, and I'm not even in my own room. I'm just in a homeboy's crib that's letting me stay there for like 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're out here on your own, it's difficult. But you know, the schools were like, "Hey, we want to give you $1,500 just to, you know, because they wanted to use your video as a commercial. Do we have your permission? Like, how do you accept payment? Like, when I need it, like when I've tried everything." And I think that's the testament. When you've really given your all in any situation and not giving up, you're gonna be all right. Because God's gonna. That's your reward. Like it's like you're gonna be like this, and then someone's gonna just tap you.
Hey, get up real quick,
This is what you need.
man.
You know.
To me, you don't even know the timing of that testimony, right?
Oh,
Because
man.
like, bro, we literally, I literally had this conversation maybe a couple weeks ago, and something spoke to me that was saying, well, I've been saying this since season 1, purpose over profit, purpose over profit, purpose over profit. And then recently I heard this quote that said, if you protect your passion will protect you. And so that's really what that testimony brings to life, is like you fought tooth and nail to protect the passion, and the passion protected you. Like even though you had these experiences where like you was like you might have been in an uncomfortable position, short lived, right? It might feel like it's hard and it's difficult, but at the end of the day, when you needed the coins to make a decision for your livelihood, the funds came through because you was protecting the passion. So the passion protected you. Like, don't give up on it.
You get what I'm saying? And yeah, brother.
And I mean, so even another test, like you spitting gems, because you know a lot of people can resonate with even with the decision you had to make with finishing college or invest in this camera, right? That's deep, and it's a lot of people who bend over backwards and put themselves into challenging situations just to go to college when in the long run, it might not even be college that is the route that they need to take. And even like as an HBCU grad myself, like as someone who has a degree, I'm still a big proponent of doing what's best, right? And I dislike when people make it seem like college is the end all be all to leading you down the path of success, because it could easily lead you down a path of debt and despair, right? Like finding yourself in these jobs that you hate just to pay your college debt off, right? But if you protecting your passion, the passion gonna protect you. Even if you just started, right? It sounds like Morehouse just was really just a place for you to just build the community, learn the skills, be tapped in with your history, right? Do all that, and then it puts you in a position to buy that camera. Like if anything, I mean, it sucks to say it, but it sounds like that person was meant to steal that money out your account. They was meant to take that money out their account.
And yeah, man, I mean, it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. I mean, it's divine. Timing is divine. Like we can't control timing. Like no matter how much we want, we can't get any of the time that we just spent back, right? And we can't tell time to pause and slow down and stop. It's going to do what it does. So just in general, like timing is the one thing we have no control over. And so when things happen in that moment that it happened, we got to just accept the fact that it was supposed to happen. Whether we liked it or not, it's something for us to learn from that. And so the fact that you kept going is really powerful to a lot of people. I mean, we teeter tottering back between film to the fitness to the fellowship, but like I do want to focus back on that fellowship, because at the end of the day, community is what brings us all together, and community is literally why I even started the podcast, was just to kind of bring a community of like-minded individuals to our millionaires out there, and to just tap in on a level that puts people outside of where they are to bringing them to where they want to be. And so if you could talk to the people, Temi, like talking about fellowship, what principles should people adopt mentally to align themselves with a circle that helps them protect their passions even more, right? How do people mentally align themselves with the right people?
Well, you know what I'm going to talk about anyway.
Go ahead.
How your day starts off. First off, I think from a more general and broader perspective, everyone that's kind of like up early in the morning and that works out, I think those are always good people to be around, because they already understand what's good for them and for their body. So they kind of have like a self-love already for themselves. And, if they have self-love for themselves to take care of themselves, they'll have self-love for you and also to be able to take care of you. And so that's the first type of people. But, I can't subjugate everyone to that, because my mother and parents, they ain't into fitness at all. So I gotta include them in my circle, But I think also people that are truly like motivated by dignity. I think that's one of the most important things, because, what does it say on these shirts?
Guaranteed.
So I'd rather, if it's not guaranteed always, I at least want to be around some people that are most likely already guaranteed going to be motivated. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You're right.
Just in case
If you're not
if
motivated.
it's not guaranteed, you know what I'm saying? So I think, being around those that are like really like inspired and motivated by dignity, I think that's very important. And also being around people that tell the truth. I think the truth is one of the most important things. People always say like they like to put truth and love in like two different places, or like say they need both of it. But really, it's the same thing. Truth is love. Truth is truth. Love is not a lie. But I'll say that truth is very important, because you know those people that are able to be real with themselves are probably most likely going to be real, with you, and that's going to keep you safe and protected. Um, yeah, yeah.
That's a word right there, especially the truth is love.
Man, truth is love.
Man, I never even really thought about it like that.
Yeah.
And even just the
Love hurts sometimes,
love hurts
and the
sometimes.
truth hurts
The truth hurts.
if we can't handle it.
Especially when it comes to telling the truth about yourself.
Yeah.
And having that self awareness
Yeah.
and having the goal to say like, this is something I need to work on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
telling the truth about yourself, and that's also self love,
Self
loving
love,
yourself.
loving yourself.
Man, so how do you feel like your physical health plays a huge part in your mental health as well?
Ooh, it's huge. Of
Of
course,
course,
man. But you know, there's moments where our physical can't even rely on our physical. You know, and I used to not distinguish the difference between two until I had this injury. Because you know, I used to always tell people, "Oh, if you're depressed, there's no excuse to be depressed." I used to tell my sister she suffers from real depression. You know, she takes medication. You know, and it's okay because after my injury, I had to realize, oh man, no, this is real, and fitness isn't the only solution. You know, but before my injury, I used to preach that people that don't wake up early and that aren't working out are depressed, and I can't say that because that's not right. You know, and I think I can only say that because I had to experience what it really feels like to be depressed, or what it feels like to be put in a predicament where you can't get up early and go work out. And so, you know, going through my recent injury and understanding that I had to like empower my mind more so than letting my body influence and ease my mind. That was the best thing because it allowed me to have like more selflessness for others, like or more like sympathy for others, and not be so like hard either. Because I mean, I remember days when I was first injured, I couldn't move, kneecap was in the quad, and I was just sitting there early in the morning awake.
But I think I feel like, well, not I think, but I feel like a lot of what you were dealing with mentally had to do with once being able to do
Yeah,
and no longer being able to do.
that was the biggest thing.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, you it's a difference between not being able
Yeah,
to being able and still choosing the man. It's so crazy because Ryan was reading a book, or it wasn't Ryan, it was Ty.
yeah,
He was reading man, as a man thinketh, I think this was the book, right? And he read an excerpt from that book, was like, if able body, right, and you still give in to the lust of sleep,
yeah,
to the lust of rest, when you are and not taking advantages of the sanctity of the early mornings, it's like you have no room for success. You're not making room for success if you able bodied. So I don't think that, like, even though like not everybody's gonna be into fitness, right? But even if you're not into fitness, nobody's saying at 5 o'clock in the morning the first thing you have to do is wake up and go to the gym. But we should not be in the habit of every day waking up at 9, 10 o'clock, or waking up with just enough time to get dressed and go to work. We should be waking up and taking advantage of the purity of these early mornings to focus on ourselves, right? And if you focus on the mind first, the body follows, right? Where energy flows, the body flows. Yeah, the body goes. So if you focus on that mind, you gonna be like, okay, 5 o'clock, I'm reading these books, I'm feeling good. I think I want to start working out now. It don't happen the other way around. It don't say I want to start working out and I want to start reading books.
That's how I was, and I had
Right.
to learn to get the other way. And so
Exactly.
that's what caused me when that injury made me sit down to read those books. And I think that's what helped me have a little bit more balance and peace too. But nah, you're exactly right, man. Like you gotta, yeah, the mind before the body for sure.
Mind before the body. The mind is what takes care of the body.
Hey, man, the
Shoot.
mind takes care. I
The
learned
body,
that. I was against it before.
yeah, the body is just a vessel. It's dirt,
Yeah.
but the mind is more spiritual. It's more energetic. You know, is what moves all of it.
Yeah.
You know, the mind is literally made of electric waves that flow through our body and tell it what to do. So you got to protect that. Got to protect that. So, I mean, as we wrapping things up, Timmy, if you could change one thing about the process, matter of fact, if you could choose one thing about the process into film, and then one thing about the process into fitness and being a trainer, what would you change?
With film, I wish I wish I was able to make I wish I didn't have an ego back in the past that I wouldn't say it ruined relationships, but I know that there was some people that we were around where we could have done a lot of things together, and the separation of all of us, you know, we still all are where we are. Um, but I wish I was able to communicate better with people that I used to work with doing film and photography, because there was a moment where we had a whole team and we were really learning and doing so much creative stuff together, you know. But we let people, kind of get to like I let someone, I let people get to me emotionally and kind of like distance myself. So I think if I was able to communicate better, and if I wasn't afraid to confront someone about my emotions and how they made me feel, whether that was right or wrong, I think things would have been much smoother, better. But at the same time, we wouldn't be here today where we are. And then also, fitness wise, of course, I wish I started earlier and took it serious. Yeah, and I wish I hadn't have been. I felt like sometimes in life you'll feel like you're going to be marginalized by people. Whether that's if someone that you're close with dealing with a relationship, whether that if that's someone that you're dealing with that's a boss, or maybe someone that you're influenced by in the workplace, or just anyone. But I'll say never be marginalized or never feel like you have to be secluded, because if you do have something to offer, or if there is something that you do feel you got to try to take that route. Don't be stuck. Get out. That's all I say. Don't be stuck. Get out.
Don't be stuck. Get out.
Get
right.
out.
Just keep moving.
Yeah.
Just create a way.
Yeah.
Just find the way. Cause stagnation is you just gotta find a way, man. Temi, it's man. I gotta say, you dropping so many gems, and this conversation could really keep going on and on and on. We might have to get into a part 2 another day, man. But as we start to wrap things up, and I do want to switch gears just a little bit. And this part of the show, I like to call rapid fire. Okay. So we're gonna have 5 random questions that have nothing to do with this conversation at all. It's just more so a way for us to lighten the mood. Get our listeners to learn a little bit more about you in a different light. But best thing I could say is just be brief, be brilliant, but most importantly, have fun. And answer what the first thing that come to mind. Okay. One word or one sentence, whatever comes. But man, I need the cards. Alana, can you hand me that deck of cards in that front pocket? Yeah. This section brought to you by my guys over at Pod Decks, man. So it's brought to you by Pod Decks. Yeah, shout out to Pod Decks, man. So we got these 5 random cards. What would be what's the most awkward thing that happens to you on a regular basis?
I'll be farting.
Hey, especially the morning workouts, man, be crazy. All right. Do you have any superstitions?
I don't even know what that means. I can't even lie. Superstition.
So like anything. All right, let's get that one. No, you good. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Quinoa.
That's weird.
No, I'm just talking.
I'm about to say I like quinoa. Shit.
It was just the name.
It is weird.
I was like, I saw it spelled, and it was like, I thought it was like quinoa. And then someone was like, no, it's quinoa.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's definitely the weirdest thing I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
I never had it.
Man, funny story, man. Funny story. So you know Dre, who used to go. So we was at he be around, man. We went to Upbeat for lunch.
That's right. Quinoa.
Yeah. We went to Upbeat, and he was like, so what Dre so country. So he was like, what that is right there? That the quinoa. Let me get that. And she looked at him so confused, like looking for what he was pointing at. And she was like, this. He's like, no, the rounded, the round rice. It's like, oh, quinoa. Yeah, quinoa. So yeah, man, I think I probably even said it like that too before. But it is a weird spelling name. If you were reincarnated as a famous person, who would it be?
God. Hmm. Martin Luther King.
Good answer.
Yes.
All right. If you had a personal mascot, what would it be?
Personal mascot. Hmm. It'd have to be my own self. I
Yourself?
can't even represent nobody else
Yeah, that's
except
a
my
good
son
one.
Christ himself.
Hey, so that would be a mascot.
That's the mascot.
What is something that you hate but you wished you loved?
Hmm. Spiders.
You wish you loved spiders?
So, because them bitches is everywhere. I'm running in the web. I'm like, God damn, I wish I love them motherfuckers.
Spiders do be everywhere, man. Look, I think
I think
I
that's the only evil
I walk into a spider web at least 5 times a day.
man. But when you think about any movie that's scary, like in like The Exorcism, how do them people be? They be crawling like spiders, bro.
But we wrapping it up, man. Thanks for participating in that rapid fire, Timmy. I got 3 more questions for you. Not even three. A couple more questions. And the first one, this was another fun question. I like to do this with all of our guests. It's red pill, blue pill. So I want you to give the listeners a red pill, blue pill scenario, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on our Facebook group, put it in the Apple, to Spotify, let people vote on which pill they take. But if you could think of a scenario on where we have to choose between taking the red pill or the blue pill, what does it look
I
like?
got you. So, would you rather take the red pill, which would be to spend money getting your house clean, or would you rather take the blue pill, which would say, you know, you clean up the house yourself, but don't have to spend any money?
Yeah. Okay, so in both scenarios, you have the money. Okay, gotcha. But in red pill is you basically hire a maid, and then the blue pill is you clean it yourself. Would you spend no money? Which one you picking? This is just a good one to just identify character of the millionaires out there. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm 1,000% spending that money. I'm 1,000% spending that money. All right, bet, man. So you touched down back on the campus of Morehouse, right? Just to do some passion work, and you end up walking past a spitting image of 18-year-old Temi. What would be some advice you would give 18-year-old Temi when you see him?
Finish.
Finish.
You know, I don't know what
I don't know what to do, but finish. All right, so he how would he do it? May not have to be like the technical things, but as far as like the mindset.
It just it just he would have to have different experiences than me first. But if it was me though, I think that mindset would have to be more so. I would it would be a different mindset. I would have to really like close myself away, like not be around people as much.
Mm. Focus on yourself.
So it would be like less community, more self.
More self development of self first. I think that is important. I think that's a very good point too, especially as we wrapping things up. And fellowship was a big part of this conversation. I do think that in order to fully reap the benefits and to provide the value of the community, you have to develop yourself first.
Well, you know what's crazy? The community helped me develop myself.
Mm.
Just like in working out with us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can take time to say, yeah, I'm gonna work on myself. So you could be able to try to join the community. But now the community gotta understand how Martin Luther King defined the community.
Mm-hmm.
He used to say that the community was the church and the community. Those are the same terms. But what that was people coming together to solve each other's issues, literally. And then the church was people coming together that had issues for sure that needed them resolved. So it's like even now when we think of that, it's like you know, we talk about everyone building that self love and, that building ourselves, but it's the community that helps us build ourselves.
That's an interesting story. I would even, and this is just for to bring the
Yeah.
debate, right? Because I would think that, like, I would consider the people who come with the issues in hopes that the community can help solve them.
Yeah.
I think I would more so consider them visitors of the community, not necessarily the community itself, because they came to the community to help solve those issues. So that means the community is full of people who provide value. In order to provide value, you have to be aware of self. You gotta be aware of self. You gotta be aware of issues. Like, so I think that the people who come with the issues for the community to solve, they're visitors of the community, and they reap the benefits of the power of the community. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Hey, that might have to be a whole. Yeah, that might be a whole nother conversation, man. So, hey, Timmy, I appreciate you, man, for joining us and tapping in and having our millionaires, really get a chance to like learn your story and learn from your story as well. I think that's the biggest piece is just, learning from, the failure, the successes, the trying times, the successful times, all of it. Now I want to give you the space to, plug yourself in, tell us about, some projects you're working on, some things you're really excited about, where our listeners can find you. RIP to the older cat, but where we can find you, anywhere else, now's the time, to plug yourself in.
So you guys, certain things coming up in the future. I'll just tell you my initial goal. Of course, there's, more fitness boot camps and, more things that you might see from me creatively wise. Especially shooting for certain people out here in this world. But the end goal is to, of course, move 10,000 people each and every day. And I think I want to be able to do that, whether if it's in the physical or virtually or online or just around the world. I think that's something that will cause an impact and get people's spirits kind of activated. It's not saying that people's spirits aren't activated, but that's what's going on. That's what we're about to do. And then of course you guys can find me since my old IG account was hacked, deleted, whatever you want to call it. I don't have access right now. But you guys can find me at Heroes Fitness. And it's spelled HEROSE because heroes again, you know. But yeah, Heroes Fitness. That's what the Instagram is now. And that's where you'll see all content that relates to fitness on my page. So yeah, there we go.
Awesome. Well, Timmy, again, it was great to have you. It's been a pleasure for our millionaires that are tapping in. It's always a pleasure to have you all a part of the show as well. Just week in, week out, showing love, man. I've even had a couple of you, see me in person and like pull me to the side and say, "Hey, I watched your show," and bro, that has been an amazing experience. Just kind of knowing now that we reach in different, communities, different people. So I'm just thankful to have you all a part of the show, and I'm thanking you in advance for becoming the change agents that you're bound to become, especially as you start to apply the principles that you've heard here today. And again, if this episode really resonated with you all, I really want to encourage you to, tap in, reach out to Temi, continue to network and join his community as well, and be a part of the journey, be a part of the process, whether it's, on the film tip or it's on the fitness tip. Definitely tap in, and if you in Atlanta and you looking for some community as far as, fitness goals, you can either reach out to me or to Timmy, and we can get you a part of the community as well. Make sure that you're getting right on the fitness level as well. Cause man, the community really changed me, man. I'm really so glad to be back in the mix as far as the fitness, and it even just helped me. I know we said like you focus on the mind first and then the body, but it's been parts where I fell off of my morning routine, and just me now having to get up at 5:30 again to be in that gym by a certain time, having that time, but between hours now that I'm up, it even helped me get back into my morning routine. And that's just the power of just having that community, having a schedule, and following the schedule as well. So I'm your guy, Kai Speaks. You just heard from Temi Teo on fellowship, fitness, finance, and film. Just remember to keep focused, build momentum, and drive results so you can live abundantly. Peace.